Happy Friday, guys. Saturn Dave here. We got Trainoco and we got Adam Koralik in the BVM here, joining us to talk about Saturn and stuff like that. And yeah, how are you doing, Adam?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah. I don't know how much of that you caught, but it's true.
I caught it all. Well, yeah, when we went to the MTV kind of screen, we could hear you guys talking, but it's okay.
Yeah, cool. I didn't really. I thought we were doing the 5-minute count. I was like, oh, I have time to chit chat about Adam with the.
Well, no, you usually cut the countdown short, like when we're late, when we're running late. So I did too.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that, but yeah, we're just talking about the conservatorship with Britney that's officially dissolved now, and then he brought up that when OJ was acquitted, they announced it over his school's PA.
They did. Wow. We're like 6 or 7. We're like, why are they telling us
Why
this?
are they telling us this?
But they did. I remember that very well.
Nice. Well,
yeah, no.
We're supposed to have Roger Vega, the owner of the SEGA Pluto, here with us, and he might show up. He might roll in a little late, and if he does, we're going to have a little bit of technical difficulties, but you guys can just bear with us while we kind of rearrange. But in the meantime, we'll just get started with Adam asking questions about this whirlwind of SEGA Pluto business that's been going on.
Yeah.
Coming on the tail.
Did you want to introduce?
Oh yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, Adam.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So my name's Adam Koralik. I'm a YouTuber. I've been talking about video game stuff for. I've actually been doing YouTube for 12 years. I'm a dinosaur on the platform. And yeah, I know, right? It's ridiculous. And so I even have a Saturn shirt for you guys right there.
Nice.
Yeah, I got planned it out. And I think other than Dave, I think I've met all of you at some point over time. Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave, I think I bought a Christmas Nights off you, didn't I?
You bought a Deep Fear from me, I think.
Deep Fear, that's right. I bought a Deep Fear off you. So that was our previous interaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I love talking retro video games and especially Sega history. I have a big affinity for that.
Same. We're like super game preservation and Sega history nerds. Like almost more so than playing the games anymore. But
yeah,
that's what happens when you get old. No kidding. Like Adam, you've been on YouTube for so long. I don't mean to age you, but I mean, I think you got me started down my whole road of like being super into RGB and high res video and everything.
Same.
You were doing like a review.
The same thing.
You're doing like a review of an Atlona scaler for like this is way back then. You know,
that was like 2011.
Yeah.
That was 10 years ago.
I fell down this rabbit hole of like, well, wait, if the Dreamcast can look so good via VGA, then why can't every console look good via VGA? And so I kind of went that way. I didn't do the RGB SCART BVM thing. I ended up getting like VGA box solutions for like all my consoles, and it's a crazy. So I'm gaming on like pro CRTs and stuff like that. You know, but Pat, he went like the more traditional RGB BVM route and everything. It's funny, but I got started on watching your videos, so thank you.
Sorry that I cursed both of you with that.
Yes.
But yeah.
It's cool. That was a cool device. I actually was pretty angry with you back then because like I can't find this device anywhere. Why did Adam lie to me? I need this device for my Dreamcast.
I found it. It didn't age well though, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great back then because that's all we knew, right?
Framemeister for the win. Although Framemeister and Saturn, not the best of friends, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm still rocking an XRGB2, and that works really well because it's analog and it loves like the different frequencies and stuff. You know, but yeah, Framemeister is a great product, and now of course you have the 5X, so folks are crazy about the
5X all the way. Yeah.
Nice. Do you have one?
Yeah. Of course.
That's right.
Mike sent me one early because I help him bug test those things a little bit because like I'm sitting on like every console, so he's like, run it with this, see if it does anything. Like initially I ran it with the Atari Jaguar and it didn't work. It would just give a green screen. I was like, here's what happens, and he was like, oh, okay, update, and now it works. So like, yeah, I like to play with that kind of stuff.
What is your?
It's really cool.
Oh, go ahead.
How many options we have nowadays for videos and stuff? It's insane that we went from like having like 2 or 3 devices to like having like almost like 8 or 10 of them. There's like so many options and so much availability. It's like you can literally not go wrong nowadays.
I agree. Retro gaming has never been more accessible. And Roger just texted me. Where you at?
Where are you at?
Where you at?
I'm just gonna call him. I'm just gonna straight up call him and
Sure.
see how this goes. Let's embarrass him on live streams.
It's cool. It's cool.
Put the phone up to the
But yeah,
camera
no,
in front of the mic.
Yeah, the last
I
time
will.
I met, yeah. Yeah,
Yo,
last time I-
you're on live right now. Where are you? Everybody's like, what's going on, man? Yes, we're waiting for you, buddy. Come on in. Yeah. All right. Yeah, go in Discord and follow the instructions there. Okay. All right. See you soon. Bye.
No kidding though,
Yeah,
like from like curb CRTs to obviously much more expensive CRT. There's an option for everybody, and I know some people who literally just like to ball with like the consumer CRT. I got a friend who's all about the wood grain CRTs, and he's like, I don't even care if it's composite. That's how I played it when I was a kid, you know? So it's like no judgment. It's like whatever you like, there's something for you now. And it's not like when 10 years ago when we were just like really had to like shop some really obscure websites to find like some hardware that would make what we wanted to do work. You know, now it's like there's solutions for
order from
everybody.
Japan. Hope they don't take our money and run away with it.
Yeah.
Gaming has never been more universally friendly than it is now. It's expensive for other reasons, but everybody's got options. I think that's like the coolest part about it now.
I get like
You just gotta
newsletters.
go ODE nowadays. ODE and like the upscares are good to go.
I'll get like newsletters from random, HD video processor sites, and I'm just like, what did I get from these? Like, I probably sold it by now, you know? Like, I don't, but I'm still getting the newsletter because it's
I
interesting.
kept mine.
Yeah.
I have all of my stuff, man, but I'm a hoarder, so it's fine.
I understand that.
Understandable.
I understand that. Yeah. I mean,
But yeah.
I'm a little bit too, but then again, space, you come up against space, and what did you say about the immovable object? You know, for me, space.
What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? It's
Right.
the paradox of collecting. It's
Absolutely.
I need physical space, but I want to occupy it.
Right.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny. We've actually had Adam on before. If you watch our video, it's like E3 2018. Shiro at E3 2018.
Yeah, we
did an
filmed
interview with
outside
him
the
behind
Staples Center.
Yeah, behind the Staples Center, and there's actually a funny anecdote I don't think we talked about on the podcast, is that right after we did the interview, three guys walked up, like, yeah, hey, what are you doing, man? And we're like, yeah, we're just doing interviews for America's Best Dance Crew or something like that.
I remember that.
And we were like, I forgot exactly. We were just like improving it, and I was like, yeah, I did not expect you to do that. And I was like, yeah, I just usually when people interrupt like that or like get nosy, I get kind of annoyed and like just improv stuff.
Yeah.
So
You do well.
I thought it was pretty fun.
That was during
it was
the
a really funny time.
that was during the whole Nintendo PlayStation whirlwind, wasn't it? Were you touring with Terry in 2018?
Yes. Yes, but that wasn't part of that.
No.
That was just E3.
Oh, okay. That was.
Yeah, no,
I meant that year. The 2018, I think, was the year that, or was
he
it
did it
before
from
that?
2016 to 2019.
And you were kind of involved on the tail end of
Yes.
that, right? That's right. Okay.
I was involved from 2016 to 2019, just not the first year.
Oh, okay.
Initially, it was Dixon Wu, was a guy in Hong Kong who really got the ball rolling on that, and they did a show out there. And then after that, he started getting invited to more domestic stuff. I met him in 2016 at AVGC in New Jersey, and from there, we just started seeing each other at cons all the time. So eventually, the final end piece of that, you guys were, some of you at least, were at PRGE 2019. That was like the swan song final performance of the Nintendo PlayStation prototype.
Right.
I think Kay was. I don't think
Yeah,
we were.
I know Kay.
was
I
gonna
know
go
Kay
that
was
year,
the-
but yeah.
Yeah, Kay was.
It's me, Ben, and
No, that was
and
18.
Brian-
I think 19.
that was
No,
19.
Ben was there. I remember
Oh, Ben
Ben
was
was there.
19? Okay, yeah.
He's in my footage. I know he was there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I couldn't remember if he was or not. Because I know
Yeah.
they did 18. I wasn't sure if they did 19 as well.
They did 19. I remember because we hung out, and you were cool enough, Kay, to let us borrow the Hitachi Navi Saturn, which was very nice of you. And we put it next to the Nintendo PlayStation prototype, along with the Atari Jaguar Hot Rod dental unit. There's only 7 of those that ever were made. We have one. It was there, so we were like, let's put them together and just have
Nice.
3 really weird things in the same moment. But yeah, no, so I would hang out with Terry a lot at that show, and at the end of it, you know, he told me, he's like, all right, go ahead and disconnect it and all that stuff. So it occurred to me, I'm gonna be the last person that ever plays this, because at that point we knew he was selling it. So I played it for a bit, I filmed that moment, you know, he made a little cameo, and then I put that eventually in a video.
I remember that.
I found out very recently, talking to somebody at Heritage Auctions, because they were the ones who ultimately sold it, that after the show, they took it from him down to Texas. They kept it in a vault. Eventually, it was sold to Greg McLemore, who's the guy who created Pets.com. And then he brought it out to like a vault, and it's sitting in his like place in Los Angeles. I met someone else recently, I believe it works at Old School Gamer, who said, you know, I'm friends with him, and I've seen it now at his house in Los Angeles, but he's like, he doesn't play it. Like, that thing is behind glass. He's probably never even used it. So as far as I know, per those sources, I'm still the last person that ever played it, as whatever worthless asterisk that is.
I'm surprised that thing, I don't know, like, you pay like thousands of dollars for it. You didn't like think, you know what, let me boot up a game and just play it for fun, you know, just like I don't know, I just can't imagine buying something, just putting it behind glass. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
It's like buying a painting or something. It's not like buying a console as we would think of it. We're not on that level. That's a different level of collector. Like, I buy, you know, like, that's like Jay Leno and his like army of cars that he's got. Like, he's not really driving all those. It's kind of the same mentality. Also, by the way, hi, Roger.
Yeah, Roger's in the chat.
It took me a while. Sorry for the lag.
It's all cool. It's all good. But yeah, no, it's kind of a sadness. I remember, I know Terry Sidley passed away, and it was pretty sad. I talked to him quite a bit. I know he went to Game On Expo, I think 17 or 16, with it, and he was a really cool dude. Him and his son. And I had him on Facebook, and I'm mutual friends with him. I don't know if you know Jared. He's Mr. Wizard. He did the Ghostbusters 2 NES carts, like the glowing ones.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah, he also did the game disc that they for the PlayStation. I guess the PlayStation. A Nintendo PlayStation game they had for that. I don't know
Super Boss Guide. Yeah, I met him at PRGE. He was wearing a wizard hat. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty cool dude, and I knew him between him and we talked a little bit. And he's a really cool dude. Sad he passed away though. I definitely feel bad. I really wish I could have seen him again before he ended the bringing it around, but I know that it just didn't happen. Get back to Arizona, sadly. So
yeah.
But he did it like 2 years, so I mean, I can't. I had plenty of opportunity, and I get to play it. So
he did that for 4 years.
Oh no, he brought it in Arizona for 2 years.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry.
No, sorry, that's what I meant. But yeah, he was a really cool dude. His son was also cool too. I had him on Facebook. I don't know if his son still has Facebook up though. I think he. But anyways, he's a really cool dude, and he's definitely going to be missed for sure. So glasses up to Terry.
Yeah, I got coffee, but definitely I'm with you.
Woo!
Actually, I bought Terry a 6-pack the night before the last PRGE with it, and that's when we filmed this video. He let me do a hands-on review of it. So aside from Ben Heck, obviously, who had very intimate access to it, I was the only one who ever got to do like a full-on just I'm gonna hold it and let's do an entire review of this thing. And in Terry's case, I just, as a thank you, I was like, "What do you want?" He's like, "Beer," and I was like, "All right then." and I was like, so we just went over to the grocery store and like pick something. He just picked the 6-pack of cheap domestic beer he wanted. It was like $6.95 or whatever. I was like, you got it, that's the deal.
We're sorry for the technical difficulties, folks, but thanks for bearing with us. That's awesome. I would take beer too as payment. I'm a beer nut. Well, okay, so where do we want to go from here with the conversation? So we had Terry, awesome guy, and rest in peace. And that was an awesome video that that Adam put up last time that console was played before it got sold. And then it's like you already were in contact with Roger, right, at that time about the Pluto.
So, Roger, do you want me to tell the story, Roger, or do you want to tell this?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the thing with Roger was I didn't know him. I had never heard of him having the Pluto before. Like the whole original incident where you basically revealed that you had it online. I was not made aware of any of that. What happened was in late 2019, I was hanging out with a buddy of mine, and we were in a store in Campbell, California, and we're just chatting with the owner, whose name is Rudy. And he just randomly goes like, Adam, do you know what the SEGA Pluto is? And I'm just like, yeah, it's that like long version of the console. Like I knew what it was, even because like nobody ever really gives, nobody ever, other than guys like us, nobody ever really heard of that type of thing. And then Rudy's like, oh, do you want to see it? The owner lives like 10 minutes from here.
No way.
And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I'll call him up. And then sure enough, Roger picks up. He's like, what's up, man? And he's like, all right, I'll be there. And he shows up 10 minutes later with the Pluto just in a cardboard box. And I was just like stunned to see it. And I had like if you remember, Roger, I had like a million questions for you. And you're like, yeah, man, I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want. I don't care. And he just like kept trying to hand it to me and be like, dude, I don't care. Go play it. Do whatever you want. You nerd. Go do whatever you got to do. So then, so we made a whole video about it. I tried to figure out everything I could about it. And that was the video we released. I think it was either very late 2019 or very early 2020. I think it was late 2019. And it was, I thought that'd be the last time I ever saw it. But then I kind of remember, Roger, I was just complaining at you. I'm like, can we fix it? I mean, tell me from your perspective, because I don't need to cover for you. Go for it. What do you got?
Well, yeah, like you were saying, because that was the little hinge and shit. And you're just like, yeah, you can meet Ben, blah blah blah, and you can actually look at it. And I was like, yeah, I don't know shit about this fucking thing. I don't want to fuck it up because that's why I haven't opened it because I don't know anything about it. Because that was the thing when I posted it initially on IGN, fucking Destructoid or whatever. I put it on that article about me talking about it, and it was like a picture of it and the Satanic Bible next to it. That was like the first photo reveal, and people were just like, he made that, it's fake. I'm like, no, I'm not that smart. Like, that's not a fucking thing. Like,
I like how you use the Satanic Bible as a scale for it.
I mean, if you got to start somewhere, it's like, who's going to go and fake that? I mean, if you're really going to argue something, it's just like, no.
Wow.
Yeah, but so when I assessed it, there actually wasn't really much wrong with it. It totally worked. It only had two obvious flaws. The first was the disk drive was always up, like the lid. It did not close at all. Later on, Ben figured out the reason for that was Sega drilled the hole for it, but they never built the actual mechanism, like the spring and all that, to keep it closed. So later, Ben Heck went on to fix that. The only other issue with it was that, sometimes on a Saturn, the first controller port just stops working, and if you like lift it up a little, it starts working again.
Right.
That happened on this. And so I figured that out. I was like, if I lift it up, it works. So I told
a broken
Ben,
solder joint, right?
Right. Well, I don't remember exactly what he said. I think it was something about a trace or something. But either way, he was able to. He was like, "There's nothing." So he fixed that all up, and then he like redid everything under the hood. Again, Ben did an entire teardown video where he showed all this. So I'm gonna, no matter what I say, I'm not gonna do it justice.
Speaking to the video, I believe he said it was a broken solder joint just because of all the downforce. So he just reflowed the connectors and fixed that, and then he 3D printed the little mechanism you were talking about to pin the door closed. Yeah, that was cool.
I agree.
Yeah, I remember we definitely had some people that were like, I can't believe he's wrecking the Saturn. I can't believe he's scraping the paint. It's like, well, I mean, it's just like paint on the undercoat. I definitely get it, but it adds the functionality back. So it's like, it's like, what are you gonna do, right?
They probably didn't treat it very well. Like being a prototype, they were thinking, oh, it's just, so they probably like did kind of toss it around a little. Because I'm thinking like this thing wouldn't have endured years of gaming, that would break a solder joint like that. It would be more like it was plugged in and somebody like walked over and like kind of like bumped it or something, and it was like, we don't care because who cares? It's just a prototype.
So Roger, why don't you? We know how little they cared about it. Tell them how you got it.
Yes. It's a great story.
I found it at a flea market. Yeah, no, this dude had a table and he had all kinds of miscellaneous shit on it. And I remember he had one of those little Sega Channel things, the little adapters that you plug into it. He had that. He had the Pluto and a bunch of other random shit. And he thought it was a VCR. And so I was like, dude, like, how much do you want for that? Yeah. And he was like, $5. I was like, I'll give you $3. And so
that was the smartest $3 you've ever spent.
Easily.
Well, and the thing is, I sat on it. I sat on it for so long because I had it in high school. I got it like late 90s. And
99, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I had it then. And then so I would go online, the internet then. And like people were like, no, it's a knockoff. So it's Japanese, and so I tried running Japanese games on it, and I was like, oh, it doesn't work. Cool, whatever. And it just sat in a drawer for like years, hella years.
20 almost.
Wow.
Do the math.
Yeah.
You got it in 99. We didn't work on it till 2019. That's 20 years of it just sitting in a shoebox.
No, it just sat. And again, it's gone through so many video games and all kinds of shit. I'm surprised I still had it. Again, I was just like, oh, I have that. Like,
That's
I'm very
insane.
glad that you still have
I'm just surprised that it somehow got into the hands of that guy who thought it was a VHS player. It's
well,
like,
a lot of people at the flea markets, they do a lot of the storages. So they'll just go and buy shit and flip it for a couple of bucks. So
And
again,
this
they
was
just
where?
he didn't know what it was.
This was in the Bay Area? Or
Yeah, no, this is in Stockton.
Okay, Sega of America, very close to that. So their headquarters.
Especially with the port there too.
Yeah.
yeah, more than likely it's like some employee took it home, maybe bought like a storage locker. Oh, hey, it's in kind of like with the Sony PlayStation, where it's like, oh yeah, it's just in a bunch of stuff that was not taken care of and just sitting there.
Yeah,
just bought it.
yeah. Because all these miscellaneous. I just remember he had a table that was like a plank with some not the dollies, but the ponies or whatever the fuck they called. It was all makeshift as shit. Like there was nothing fancy about his setup.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. You got that for $3. That's great.
That was
Well,
probably the biggest deal of all time. Like that's, I don't even know. Like, I mean, I know Terry got his for like what, $50 or something.
Terry, do you want to hear actually? Because Terry told me all the details about this. Do you want to hear? Terry, no offense, Roger. Terry debatably got a better deal. So here's the thing. So Terry was working as just a hired grunt for this company to go in, and there was another company that was basically doing an estate sale because they had foreclosed. The company had failed. The person who had run that company was Olaf Olafsson, the first president of PlayStation. That's why he had it in the first place. Okay, so that's key. He was supposed to destroy it. He didn't. It ended up in a random office.
Yes.
So estate sale thing comes around. Terry's just a guy who's just like, hey, I'm working for minimum wage to pack stuff up. And he goes in and packs up, he sees a whole bunch of plates and cups and saucers, that's how he described it, and forks and knives and stuff. He'd be like, oh, I want all this. I'll put it all in the same box. That's all he cared about. So then they did this Storage Wars auction type of style thing for a random box. He knew which one it was. And he was like, $75. And he won that. And that's all he cared about was the box of forks and knives and stuff. Afterwards,
we're talking like Sony branded forks and knives.
No, just forks and knives. Nothing to do with Sony.
Maybe they were silver or something like
forks
that.
and knives.
Afterwards, so he gets the box and he's like, and there's 10 boxes with it, and he's like, I just bought the one, and they were like, nobody bought any of these. You're the only person who bought a box. These are all yours. And so he just took all that stuff. Inside one of them, Nintendo PlayStation prototype. So he basically got it for free.
Fuck.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I still think the Pluto's the better deal, but I'm biased.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Of course you are. I mean, yeah. I mean, arguably they both do about well, the Pluto plays a lot more games. If we want to be honest,
The
It's more
Pluto
functional,
plays. The
it
Pluto
plays the Saturn library.
It plays it plays the North American Saturn library.
True. Yeah.
The Nintendo PlayStation plays the Japanese Super Nintendo library or Super Famicom library.
Well, to be honest,
You have a funny comparison.
you guys haven't used any of those
contrast.
janky. You haven't used any of those janky ST keys or anything like that, right? Because of the non-beveled edge and the huge PCB that would just wreck that console.
Yeah, I'm not willing to. We had that discussion. Well, actually, my buddy Jesse and I did. Roger was like, "Oh, do whatever you want," but I was just like, "I will," because he's like that. He's very cool. But I'm like, "Don't worry, Roger. I got you. I'm gonna take care of your baby here. It's fine." But yeah, a lot of those, the Game Shark that have the thicker pins. I even said it in the video. I was like, we could technically try this, but I'm not going to put that in a prototype because that could really mess it up. But we tried action replays. Yeah.
For all we know, it just plays the US games. Sorry, Pat, stepped on your toes. What was your story?
I didn't think I had a story. I was gonna say that we were talking on the Discord, and a couple of the indie developers were saying that it could be that it could be two things, that it was set that it wasn't registered, or it wasn't registered to be detected, or that it's being detected but there's a pen issue. So it could also be maybe there's a bent pen or something that registers the net link, but not the action replay and the other stuff.
It is
So there's definitely that
possible.
possibility.
Ben did not notice anything like that, but to be fair, I don't think he really tore through that particular cartridge port all that much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something we can assess. I'm more curious, like, what something like the Satiator might do, because this thing does have the VCD card slot, so theoretically that'll work. Stay tuned, because if you ever see a video show up in my feed about that, it worked. And if you never do, it didn't work.
Somebody jokingly in the comments is like, do the swap trick.
Dude, no joke. People have actually said, like, do that. I'm like, I'm not doing that to a prototype. Other people were like, take out the board and like replace it with an ODE. I'm like, can you shut up? Like, it's not. We're not doing that. Like,
there is
honestly
something you could do, because you did have like the lid off for it for a while. There's a cartridge that came out called, gosh, let me get it.
He's looking for that, but
while Kay's looking for it, Kay has he has a gamer's cart, Saturn gamer's cart, and that you've not tried. And I think if you end up rendezvousing with Kay, you guys might try the gamer's cart.
Okay. Kay is one of the Saturn gods, one of the mini ones. So
I would actually say he is the.
He's definitely the craziest when it comes to.
I'm glad we're in agreement with that then.
No, I'm giving him like upper echelon top tier. Yes, I will say that for him, because I can also very arrogantly say I'm the Dreamcast version of that.
Yeah, you are. I would not ever. If anybody asked me on the street, like, oh, Adam Koralik, he's the Dreamcast guy.
I'm coming for you, Adam. No, I'm getting that collection up. I'm getting those obscure consoles.
Can I tell you an amusing side story based on what you just said?
Yeah.
It's not super. I was down in PAX South in San Antonio once in Texas, and a random guy walks up to me. He's like, "Yo, why didn't you come to Retropalooza? We invited you." I was like, "I have no idea what this guy's talking about. I have not heard of this." And he's like, long story short, he goes away, comes back later. He's like, "I found out what happened. I talked to my boss. He wanted you, didn't remember your name, so he called you the Dreamcast guy. So we tried getting the Dreamcast guy, and Max showed up."
Oh no, the Dreamcast guy.
So I was like, "That is amazing." Then later that day, I saw Max. I told him that story. He thought it was amazing. So anyway,
that's so funny.
This close to being the Dreamcast guy.
Seriously though, but I don't think there's anything for Dreamcast that you don't have.
There's definitely some stuff. Actually, we went down to the National Video Game Museum in Frisco, Texas, and they move stuff around. So they have a lot of things out on display and whatever. So they didn't have much Dreamcast stuff, but they did have a dev kit. I'm like, I got that. No, who cares? Then I'm looking around their prototypes. They have one Dreamcast prototype there. It was a GDR of Propeller Arena. I'm like, you jerks.
My God.
That's like the one thing I don't have. And I remember bidding on it, like, 10 years ago, being like, I want, and I got outbid by a museum.
And that's such a rad game too. Like, such a rad game. And I
like
love the soundtrack. Yeah.
Like, you have access to the burn copy or whatever.
Sure. But I mean, to have the GD-ROM of that, that would be awesome. There is a rip though. There is like a GD-ROM rip of that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's easy. I got that all day long, just like anybody else does. I'm just saying that original GDR disc. The irony is I have all the hardware to actually like make my own. I just won't do that because that's not cool.
Right.
Like I have the GD writer, the GD ripper, the GD extractor, all that stuff.
Yeah.
The disc is the part I don't have. I would have to go to the museum with all that stuff.
You don't have any blank.
I rip your game?
Yeah.
Adam's gonna start a piracy business soon.
Oh God.
He's got all the good equipment.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna sell
games.
I'm gonna sell a game that's been dumped for 20 years. Yeah.
He's gonna outclass all those eBay sellers. He just
And
needs a system disc, right?
Yeah.
I would need blank discs. I have one blank disc, so it would have to be very successful.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
To circle back for just a second about the swap trick thing, right? The only trick to that with even the prototype is that since the lid has already been off, the only thing that it cares about is making contact with the lid switch. And this exterminator has a built-in swap trick thing that it does. So you could actually just push a button and it stops the CD motor automatically. So it is actually possible to try it that way.
Oh, okay. Ooh. It forces a swap. It forces like a safe swap trick.
Exactly.
That's an interesting solution.
We actually talked about it back in like I think a season 2 or season 3 podcast episode.
Reminds me of those PlayStation discs, and the Swap Magic discs for the PS2, that kind of thing.
I had one of those.
That thing.
I think I still have it in the closet. I'm not gonna go get it right now, but
I still have them.
I played Dragon Ball GT all the time with it. amazing.
Yeah, mine's over there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the
Just
cluster of games.
somewhere over there.
I don't want to look right now.
In the pile of stuff that's going to overtake me.
I know exactly where it is. It's just not attainable. It's
right.
in another
Exactly.
room. But,
You got to fight through like 12 rows of games to get.
We
to
have
it.
a guy. So Burnt Ends or Seawin, he is the guy that's behind the Sakura Wars Game Boy Color translation that just dropped. And he also has done like other projects with the Bulk Slash game and other Sakura Wars projects. He makes a living in drive forensics, and he keeps telling me like, oh, I want to be able to poke and prod that drive and see what's on it, on a forensic level, and then others are just like, honestly, it's probably just a factory drive that they popped in there at the last second,
Hey, well, first of all, any such decisions are ultimately Roger's. Who? Hey,
Sure.
what do you know? He's on the
absolutely,
line.
Absolutely.
Secondly, I can essentially guarantee you it's blank.
Yeah.
We got nowhere with it. I mean, where does this guy live?
I don't know. Burntons, if you're in the chat, tell us where you live. I don't remember.
I'll ask him afterwards.
Yeah, theoretically, that can be arranged. I mean,
I actually talked with Ben about that after you guys did your video. I reached out to him and asked him to do see if we could perform a dump of that hard drive to try and do it through some like forensic analysis. That was like a year ago when I talked with him about it. But we basically like it's an IDE style laptop hard drive, right?
Yeah. If I had known you wanted it, I would have had it. But it's over there.
Never mind.
Like
I confused him with someone else in our chat because he does HVAC design. But somebody in our chat, and I thought it was Seawin, was like, I do drive forensics, and I'm screaming at my phone. I want them to like look at it.
Oh, dude, we're listening.
Yeah, we're listening.
We're here. Let's get some microscopes on those digits. Let's see what's on that drive.
So
honestly, I
orders
was telling Dave before that. Honestly, I did testing for like hardware back in the day, especially with like hard drives. More than likely, that's just the last thing they shoved in there before they killed the project. It's like, yeah, another test drive. Here you go. Okay. Bye.
A prop to show that it had that was the plan. I mean, I imagine this was like the PS2 with Final Fantasy 11. Before the PS2 with Final Fantasy 11, you'd have had you'd have been downloading Command and Conquer campaigns over dial-up, and they'd store them on the little drive or whatever. But I imagine it was just a prop to kind of show proof of concept, like we could have a drive here, and
that's exactly what I think happened.
Yeah. But orders of business. If you do meet up with Kay, the idea is to use the gamer's cart to see if you can dump the BIOS. You also know a guy who has a satiator, and you're going to get that in there.
And we're going to work on that one. Yeah. I mean, there's like a long list of things we want to do.
A laundry list.
It's funny. It is funny though, because like I put out the video and a bunch of people like complaining, why didn't you do this? It's like, it's a process, man.
Right,
that video took 2 years. Give me a minute.
Seriously.
We kind of suffer through a human deadly disease right now. Can you catch a little bit of a break? We're still doing it. This isn't like this is going away in a museum. No,
we're not like in a hurry to finish here.
Although spoilers, Roger said he's selling it tonight, so it's going to be trashed, or he wants me to break it. I'm not really sure. So
I think you should break it. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
That's how you know Roger's cool. Like occasionally I'll text him and be like, "Oh, dude, I dropped it. It's trash," and he's like, "Oh well." Like he's a cool guy. Like he knows I'm kidding. That's why it's okay.
Sure.
But, like,
honestly, if Kay gets a hold of it, he's gonna start Third Impact. Like I don't know or not, but I know once Kay gets a hold of that thing, it's Third Impact. That's what's foretold the prophecy.
I kind of feel like you have a bit of a safety net though, because you have some connections, with people who can fix shit. So it's like, if anything does go wrong, maybe it's not the end of the world. I don't know, maybe it is. You're just like, do tell.
He has my Prologue 21 right now. I sent it to him to try and see if he can get that thing powered up as a result of that. And that's kind of how I started getting, even partially involved with Roger. Was through Ben, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've been chit-chatting every once in a while. I'm still very much interested in the whole hardware thing. And your story about that. I know that you got it at the swap meet, and that it cost you $3, which is just mind blowing. when did you realize that you had something like truly special?
It was when that guy, I think he posted a Destructoid too, because he had 02 and I think I have 01. That he said that he had that one, and he was like, yeah, I mean, my friend worked on it. Nobody really knew about it, and I wanted people to see it. Because, again, the only thing I knew about it was a long Sega Saturn, and it had the symbol on the door. That's the only way I knew what it was to begin with. And again, like I said, it just been sitting in a drawer with a bunch of other, like, Sega, not Nomads, but the older Segas.
Like a Genesis Master System. Okay.
Yeah.
So that would have been 2013, right?
Yeah, it was like 2013 or something, because he was living in Japan, and he said like his friend passed away or something, and that's why he was showing people. He was like, yeah, like, because everything went to shit, and then everybody got stuff on their way out of Sega, and he held on to that one.
A really nice piece. So, off of this, like, I know that you've had some other things that you've been like trying to find out information on, like that one PlayStation.
Yeah, the developers conference disc.
Yeah, did you ever find anything out about it? Because I couldn't find
No, I still haven't found out anything about that thing. It's like factory sealed too, so I don't want to just open it up and be like, yeah, what the fuck is this? Like,
do you have it near you? Is it something you can go show people?
I got it. Give me a minute.
Yeah, okay.
I think
you guys
could see it because I don't.
Oh, that's right. He's this camp. Sorry, I didn't think about that. I see him. That's why I wasn't thinking about that. But yeah, don't worry about it, Roger.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, I forgot you're not on camera.
Discord though, we'd love to see it. I'll put it in the video afterwards. Just take a picture of it.
Oh, I think I might have those photos we took of it back in back at the office.
Yeah.
That's the best part about post-production. We can add in stuff when we don't have it. So if you got stuff you want me to add in, just let me know. I'll put it in the post.
And I want to make an announcement while you're looking for that. For folks who are in the chat, or please hang with us for the second hour, because Pat and the Bulk / crew are going to be streaming a new Navigator, Cologne. And so they're going to be doing an interview with those guys, and you guys want to hang out. We're going to, bring people into the room and allow people to chat and stuff like that. I'm going to have to drop probably in about 20-25 minutes. We got a little late of a start. So, but yeah, we'll be here for another hour, and we'll be streaming some Bulk / too. So don't go away.
Okay, I just posted them in the general on your Discord.
Gotcha. Dave, we're still frozen.
Oh,
there we go.
No, yeah, you're good.
And I'm off screen.
Did you leave? You're
nope.
Good. You just got back on, so there you are.
Oh, there we go. Weird. All right, sorry. Discord acting up again. We're all good.
Discord.
Technical difficulties, half the fun.
Yeah.
If it wasn't technical difficulties, right?
Yeah. Whoever's in the chat, in the Discord chat right now, do not leave, because everything will rearrange. We're gonna get to the bottom of a better solution for that, but in the meantime, it's what we got.
But yeah,
so
I'm really
what else do we want to? Oh, go ahead, Pat.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
I have an idea. There's one thing we have not done on this entire stream, which is a little weird. We have not actually, like, shown the Pluto.
Please.
Oh, yeah, we should do that.
That was something, yeah, I was like...
Hey, there she is!
Hey.
And there's something interesting about this one.
It through the monitor. I'm trying to reach through the monitor and touch it.
There's something interesting about this one that Adam just taught me, like, literally right before we went live.
So they were very nice to make this like nice mock-up artwork of me. With some reason I have rainbow powers and I make prototypes float. I don't know.
Yes.
So I've got the white Sega Pluto next to me, which is a different story we could talk about. There's the Sega Neptune, and there's a black Pluto. And I looked at it and I was like, it's funny. There's only 2 black Plutos in the world, and you used a photo of the other one. Mm-hmm. I could immediately tell it was the wrong one, because the big obvious difference is this one doesn't say Sega Saturn on it, whereas the one they use does. That's the Japanese one that Roger was referring to. But you're not the only person to make that mistake, because the Japanese one, I think Heritage Auctions had it, so they put up a lot of photos of it, and a lot of people did. Whereas Roger's, again, it's just the 2 of us being like, hey guys, look at it.
Yo.
I have a theory. I have a theory, though, that yours is actually newer, not the other way around. Because if they were designing before and thinking they were just going to put Sega Saturn on it, and then they came up with the name Sega Pluto, maybe they were like, oh, well, don't put Saturn on it because it's going to have a different decal on it. What if that?
It's certainly possible, but then again, I mean, that was just Sega with prototype names. Like Game Gear was Mercury, Venus was an unreleased handheld, Sega CD is actually Sega Earth.
Right.
32X, if you actually open it up, it says Mars on the board. Jupiter was a Virtual Boy competitor that never happened. Saturn is the Saturn, obviously.
Right.
They never used Uranus for probably very obvious reasons. Neptune, I just said, is the 32X Genesis combo
I think
unit.
that was the code name for the Nomad.
Uranus?
What?
I'm just joking. It's a dumb joke. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a dumb joke.
So the Neptune, I just held the only one that there is. It's the one in the National Video Game Museum.
It's a shell, right?
And then we can talk all about it. Trust me. And then the Pluto is this thing. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it would have been its own separate console, just a revision. So I imagine they wouldn't have marketed it as the Sega Pluto. They probably just like Sega Saturn Online,
Pluto,
or who the hell really knows?
But you're of the mind that the other one is
right.
You're of the mindset that the other one might actually be newer.
I think that the Japanese black one is the newer one, and I think that for two reasons. Actually three reasons. One is like we see the label, it says Sega Saturn on it, which implies it was a little further along. Second is when Ben took it apart, he showed under the board like how prototypey it really is. Like certain parts are just like straight up stuff he's got laying around. He's like, okay, some of this is really. But the third one, the third reason, I imagine we believe that this thing was actually designed by Sega of America, not Sega of Japan.
Right.
And we think that because it showed up in America. But again, obviously that's how Rob. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, it cut out for a second.
Yes, sorry. The last thing, I don't know what you heard last, but basically this thing showed up in America, so that's where we assume, whatever. But also, it has a Japanese sticker on it, which I had translated that says, somebody said, what on earth is this? But my friend who translated for me was being very polite. Apparently it says something like, what the fuck is this? Like in an angry tone. So presumably a Japanese engineer looked at it and didn't like the design of it. So I would guess the one that showed up in Japan was the revision of this that they brought to Sega of Japan for some sort of approval phase. That's a guess. That's all speculation based on circumstantial evidence. But that's my guess. But that's just the evidence I've got. I can tell you, though...
That makes a lot of sense, though.
There will be footage of the white one of these on my channel, actually next to this. We did a little reunion tour of the two of them down in the museum. The white one is a tank. An absolute tank. Like, this thing weighs, I don't know, maybe a couple of pounds. That thing, we legit thought it was like made out of concrete. Like, it was really, really, really heavy. Boy. It had no electronics in it. It's purely plastic molding.
Oh, okay.
So there are 3 known Plutos to exist. I talked to someone at Sega a couple years ago about this, and they were like, again, none of them worked there at the time. But what they told me is like, based on the really cursory research we can even do without really getting into the Japanese archives of stuff, they're like, we made 6. Presumably 6 operational, I'm not entirely certain, but 6, and destroyed 4. We know that 3 exist in some form, which means they're either wrong or they weren't including the white one because it's literally just a hunk of plastic.
And these ones are probably white as well, because these ones are just painted, right?
We're 100%. I mean, the camera's not going to pick it up too well, but you can see there's like a little chip there on the front. Sorry, Roger, I had nothing to do with that. That was already there.
That was already there.
Yeah, and you could see in the video when Ben Heck was scratching the plastic off, you could be able to see the paint underneath it.
Sorry, my headphones the connection sucks, so sometimes it drops. But yeah, I didn't do that damage. Roger knows that. But like underneath that is this white color, and yeah, Ben talked about it pretty extensively. That color is the same one as the white one that they have at the National Video Game Museum. Which was really cool, by the way, because they didn't know this existed. And then when we showed it, like they thought the Pluto was just a hunk of plastic. So I was showing them like, no, it works. And the guy was like so happy about it. It was like it was just this really cool moment between nerds who would actually appreciate something like that. So having all 3 of those in there at the same time. So Roger, even though I already thank you again, because that wouldn't have been possible if I had been like, hey, can I borrow the Pluto? And you were just like, yeah, there's a middle finger right there. That's all you. But no, you were cool about it. So
that's the thumbnail for this video.
right there.
That
is the thumbnail.
That's the thumbnail. But
I'll give you some extra takes.
Jeez,
Like
no.
Saturn rings around them.
Nice. Okay, that's gold right there. Anything you want to lick it?
Don't eat it.
Do that. I wouldn't. All right. First of all, there's two reasons I won't like this. One, Roger has not given me authority to do so.
Right.
Two, unlike the Nintendo PlayStation, which actually was final plastic, so yes, I did lick it. This is just paint.
Right.
So I'm not really. That might actually
Could
like
be a little
take
lead
paint
in there.
off. Yeah.
Don't worry.
Exactly.
I'll see if I can sniff it next time I get there. Go see it in person. I know Kay would
got it.
appreciate that. The report on that, right, Kay?
Yeah, Trekkie's asked a good question.
Appreciate the sniffing of it.
Trekkie's asked a good question, and that was that with the Giga Drive and even the Champagne Saturn or like the early Saturn prototypes, they were like a hard block of either wood or like a composite, sometimes plastic, sometimes plaster. So you're saying that this brick, this tank white one, is like a plastic shell with like a weight inside, or
They didn't let us open it, but they said there was nothing inside of it. It was just ridiculously heavy. Like really, it felt like plastic, but I'm no expert in that field. To me, it was just a hunk of plastic.
Yeah.
But it was I remember being legit stunned because I thought it would weigh like nothing because there's nothing inside of it.
we
but
don't want this thing moving.
Like we legit thought they put bricks in it or something because like exactly like
They might
nobody will
have.
steal it. It's like 100 pounds. Like you can't move it. It's
got Thor's hammer inside.
Yeah, Mjolnir is in there, so I guess I was worthy because I had another Pluto, so that makes me acceptable. I'm the only. There's going to be footage, by the way, in a video I release because I'm going to do a video about all of this. I'm the only person potentially ever that will have held two Plutos at the exact same moment, and that was really physically challenging to do. I'm just saying.
Came home from the hospital. You got the two.
One person on Earth. You're racking up all the records. Last person to play PlayStation prototype. Last person to hold two Saturns. What's next?
Last
Two
person,
Plutos.
first and last
Plutos.
person to flip off all our viewers. Holding
Yeah.
a Pluto. I don't think
know.
anybody else is going to
Holding
manage
a
that.
Pluto.
We had a last show, so
Get
Yeah.
Emilio's orange Xbox, like the orange Halo.
That one, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's my buddy
Yeah,
Emilio.
but
Didn't he
one
sell
thing
to a
I'm
guy in
wondering
Australia or
sorry.
something?
He sold it to someone at PRGE, I think 2016, 2017.
Because I could swear there's a guy in Australia who has like this super collection. He was showing it, so I assume he was the dude who bought it, but I guess I don't really know. Doesn't matter. Point is, I know what you're talking about. That's a cool little device.
Yeah.
Like a
So
little,
one thing I'm confused on is that was this supposed to be like the equivalent of the Famicom becoming the NES in America, or was it supposed to be like a souped up Saturn sort of thing?
So all we can do is speculate based on the dates of the manufacture of this versus what actually happened in Sega's history. So we thought, I remember Roger when we were first talking about this, he said he got it in '99. So we assumed, given how late that is in the Saturn's life cycle, that it was like a tail end thing that they were trying, and then they just gave up, like right before they transitioned to the Dreamcast. Like maybe they built it in early '99, and then by the end of '99, it was in a flea market. Not according to the actual device. When we took it apart, it had dates on it. January 24th, 1996, which is much earlier in the Saturn lifespan. So our thinking, and again, this is pure speculation, was that at one point, someone at Sega of America went like, we don't really like the way the Japanese are handling the Saturn, but we have no choice. We have to proceed with it. But they were correct in assuming that online gameplay is the future. They were just way ahead of their time. So they built this thing and thinking, we'll rebrand the Saturn as like this online experience in North America. But I'm sure that someone was, other than the Japanese engineers being like, what the hell is this? They were probably like, do you realize how much that's going to cost? Shipping a console with a fully operational ID hard drive that's 540 megabytes in 1996? Like, that's, even Ben said it best. He's like, that's comparable to what was in PCs at the time. Like, the idea that you would ship a game console. And for reference, for people who aren't totally sure of their history out there, that would have predated the original Xbox having the first console hard drive by 5 years. So that's not nothing. So I'm assuming what killed this more than anything was just the numbers. They were probably like, no. But the truth is, we don't totally know.
And to answer to answer Martin Evans' comment or question in the chat, does it have the 4 megs of RAM built in? We don't know, and the reason why we don't know is because we can't confirm that it actually plays any of the Japanese games that use the 4 megs of RAM, and we can't do that because it doesn't work with action replay cards, hence the need to find a way to run Japanese games so they can confirm that.
It's on the list. Trust me, we have a plan. We have, like I said in the other video, just because we didn't do it yet didn't mean we didn't think of it. It just means, what do you want? Like,
but that's where you're at. That's where they're at. So they still want to find out if maybe that's something they built in. Of course, that would add to the cost in as well, you know. So
that would actually, I mean, to be honest,
expensive.
Though, yeah, but that would make sense. Built-in RAM for the Saturn would have been a huge deal. Like, because as you guys know, the U.S. library, other than I guess it was Marvel Superheroes, really didn't use it. But if it was in there, they might have. Because again, '96, it was still a very relevant time to be bringing games over to the Saturn.
And that really would make it
incredibly surprised if it actually does have that in there because of the RAM compatibility issues for the SNK games, with like the 1 meg games in Japan.
Is there other than Marvel Superheroes, is there a game where if it had RAM that would cause a problem or would be in any way acknowledgeable? Because maybe I could try that. The problem with Marvel Superheroes is that it's like it enhances the frames, but it's too subtle for me to really notice. Sorry, go ahead.
Like what, the US game library?
It has to be the US library, yeah.
I can't think of any offhand, but basically they're the ones that have graphical glitches. If you have too much RAM in there, it doesn't get addressed properly and it just glitches out the video. They're either Japanese or like King of Fighters 95 is European, but that's the part. So
I think Metal Slug does that too.
But again, these are all the Japanese games. That's the problem.
All you really need to do, if you can run Japanese games, if you find a way to do that, just first confirm that it runs a standard vanilla Japanese game. And then the first thing you want to test is a Japanese game that requires the RAM in order to even boot. If it won't boot with that, then you know that it doesn't have any kind of RAM built in, right?
Exactly. But it's to me, I mean, you guys offered a different alternative to why it may not be working. But the thing that makes me think it has RAM, again, 2 reasons. One, Ben looked at it and straight up said, I think there's RAM on this. I think there's more in there. That was point number 1. He's the engineer, dude. He's more likely to know. The second is the ancillary evidence of like every single Saturn cart we put in that doesn't have RAM worked. Every single one that did have RAM did not work. And so extra RAM could just be creating a conflict. It's just a simple hardware thing. But again, the easiest way to test that would be if we could run a Japanese game that requires it, then we would instantly know. But it can't get around the region coding because of exactly that problem. So Satiator, I'm telling you, we've got a plan, guys. It's just a matter of logistics and time. Yeah, don't worry. It's not going anywhere unless Roger suddenly changes his mind and tells me to break it with a hammer. Other than that, it'll be fine.
Or your house exploding.
My house is fine. Don't worry about it.
So
it's all good. No, I mean, it's just sitting here on my lap. Everything, trust me, it's all good. So I would never harm a prototype.
Oh, go ahead. Okay.
The one thing that has been fascinating to me, because Roger and I have talked about this, offline for like almost 2 years now, actually.
Yeah.
The modem.
Yes. You want to see it?
Yeah, please. And more of like shots from like the back, the inside. Does it mention that it's a 56K modem? I don't remember Ben talking.
No, we don't. We're not in test. That was one of the things we wanted to test, but it doesn't. The console doesn't even attempt to use it. So in short, the hard drive's in there. Mechanically, it works. The modem, we assume mechanically would work. It is technically connected to the motherboard of the console, but the Pluto in no way tries to use it. Ben suggested that it's drawing power, but not enough to run them. But it's also drawing too much power to run the Saturn normally with them attached. So he actually recommended never keeping them connected when you run the console.
Right.
So we follow his advice when we take it up. Again, prototype. That's why I think the other one's probably better at it. Now, to answer your specific question, don't know for sure, but considering the Netlink came out a year after this did, or after this was built, I would assume it's like 28.8K. I can't imagine it's 56. When I think
noticed.
I'm sorry. The one, like the 28.8 versus the Japanese
14.4.
14.4.
Yeah, I guess I can't. I have no way to test that at all. Because the thing.
Yeah, the daughter board is really long. I noticed the daughter board is really long, and it has like a Connexent chip on it. That's a newer chip. So it could be 33. Honestly, it could be updated, or it could just be the 28.8, so that it works with all of the established software. But yeah.
Keep in mind, Netlink came out almost a year after this was built, so we don't really know. It didn't necessarily have to be compatible.
That's a good point.
With all the progress that's been going on with like the Netlink versus the X-band modem stuff in the last year, that would definitely be kind of an interesting factor to take a look at, you know, especially if the Netlink games could run without that particular Netlink modem, if the cartridge port itself was functioned for that.
It does.
Okay, so
if you go back and if you watch the Pluto video, I show that like we ran Netlink games on this stock with nothing in it, and it doesn't acknowledge that at all. But if you put in a Netlink card, it totally acknowledges that.
Acknowledges it. Okay.
But this either way is just totally ignored. And again, Ben's thing was this prototype is simply not providing enough power to actually do anything with these.
Yeah.
But it's still drawing enough power that he recommended never keeping them connected because it doesn't work properly.
The thing is, there's a little riser board. It's an extra board. You mentioned it. So it's a little riser for the HD and the modem. Similar to how the PS2 also uses a riser, but it's encased in this big piece of plastic, you know. But it's a riser, and I think Ben was saying that there's a problem with the circuitry on that board or something. You know, the power management, not providing enough power. On your video, I think that he was saying that there might be a problem with that board, but it's an unknown piece of hardware. You know, it's like how do you test it compared to something else that works? You know,
right? The only option would be to buy the other one. So if anybody out there's got just a ton of money and wants to just satisfy our curiosity, by all means.
I do have a question though. I do have a question, real quick. Adam, as a huge Saturn fan, well, as a huge Dreamcast fan, but also a Sega fan, and you own many Saturns, as we know, like, are you planning on getting a satiator? Just curious, like.
I'd love to get one. The thing is, for me, I have so many ODEs already. Like, I've got the mode, I've got the RIA. I don't need it. And I know I have Fenrir's coming again for review stuff. I would love to review a satiator, but right now my primary interest in it is literally just putting it in right there. And that's the VCD slot. In fact, let me take that off.
Well, Abrasive, if you're watching this, send him a satiator. No,
yeah, by all means, dude, I'll do a review video. Unless it doesn't work, then I'll do a normal review video and everybody will be disappointed. But if it does work, right there.
I am really curious though if it does detect that VCD slot though. That's one of the big things. Once you guys get that going, I'm actually kind of excited.
Oh, so I guess I could point out something that's kind of interesting, I think. So you see that the battery, the CMOS battery, is still there, much like the other ones. Now, Roger, I'm going to ask probably a stupid question of you, but I'm still going to ask it. Did you ever replace that battery?
No, like I said, it sat in that drawer. It was like I had one of those like plastic bins, one of the like the kids ones that's like multicolors for years. I never. Like I said, I didn't think it worked because I put the Japanese games on it and then it wouldn't play. And I was like, cool. And it just sat there.
Right. So that's the answer I expected. Now, I'm pretty sure Ben didn't change it. The reason I bring that up is it doesn't have the Saturn's normal clocked battery problem. It just starts and it never complains about what time it is. So either he might have changed the battery and I didn't, because like if Roger remembers this, I had just take the longest flight route ever and then I crashed hard when I got there. So they did most of that work while I was sleeping. But and I'll double check with Ben, but I don't think he changed that. And if he didn't, that means that it either doesn't have that issue at all or that battery is magic. I don't know. But there's something possibly unique, or I'm really overselling this, and he changed the battery, and my bad.
Yeah. Speaking of that's sort of detection, Trekkies in the chat said that you could actually put Marvel superheroes, and if it does have the RAM installed, it'll say like there's a RAM option that pops up, and if there isn't, it's not detected. So that's one way you could check it in case, but you know.
I'm assuming, Kay, you have that game.
I have them all.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah,
So
of
course.
I mean, I can see his stuff. I'm just assuming in that giant, beautiful wall that it's there. So potentially we'll work that out and we'll test. But my goal, honestly, is there you go. My goal is the satiator because, frankly, it has so many more things we can test. Whereas, all right, let's assume for argument's sake that we got the marble one in there and we just found that out. It's like, okay, cool. Technically, it does something, but it doesn't. Now we're going to be curious and we're going to want to try a million other things, and we just can't. Satiator, just like boom, all those problems are gone if it works.
Yeah.
And so it's probably just going to get with the satiator at the same time. So it's like that's kind of pointless. It'd be kind of cool to see though, but
I am interested, for the record, to see whether the Gamer's Cart, K's Gamer's Cart, does anything. It is a well-made device and it has a really nice beveled PCB, so I think that it shouldn't be an issue for the cart slot. And it also has, sorry, Kay?
I'm curious if this one got tried.
It doesn't. The pseudo Saturn doesn't work.
No, yeah, pseudo Saturn.
The switch on the top that does that turn off the RAM.
That specifically, no. I just used the standard pseudo Saturn that was built on a 1 megabyte action replay.
There's an idea. You can turn off the RAM on that model, and then it just acts as a key to play imports. Lots of options.
Sounds like another potential option. Yeah.
Got lots of testing to do. But yeah,
maybe I'll swing by and borrow some of your toys.
Honestly, guys, we do kind of have to wrap and wind this down. But if Adam, if you want to hang out and stick around for the Bulk Slash stream, you guys can keep chatting and having a party. I gotta go get the kids and do like pizza night and stuff. But seriously, man, like, thank you so much for being generous with your time. And Roger, thank you for coming on. We appreciate having you both. And
yeah, thank you.
We're lucky. We're very fortunate that you guys were willing to give us your time and talk about this thing, because this is awesome. And I mean, we are super nerds, so we're super into this kind of thing. I hope that other members in the community will enjoy learning about this thing, and stay tuned to Adam's channel, of course, because you're going to want to see the story unfold over multiple videos. I'm sure.
In general, because he has some great videos.
Absolutely.
And has his travel channel.
I appreciate that and all, but the thing I'm more interested in is letting you guys know, if you want to see it in person, thanks to Roger's generosity,
yes,
it'll be on display at Kansas City Retro as a convention on December 11th. It will also be on display at SAC GamerCon in Sacramento, I believe, on December 18th and 19th. There may be other shows in 2022. That's up to a combination of people out there who run conventions and Roger. I'm just like the guy that's like the whore that's like carrying it around while Roger gets to like have a normal life.
Hey, I'll be straight. I'm not going to try to bribe you or anything, but if you decide to bring it to Game On Expo in Phoenix, Arizona,
that one's
maybe
the simple thing. The simple thing about that is talk to John. And if he wants me there, he knows me. Just tell him, like, do you want the other Dreamcast guy, the bad one, plus the Pluto? Then you can have that. I don't see. The thing is, I don't really go out and like hey, why can't I be there? I don't do that. So if you want me there, like, just ask John. If John's like, yeah, bring him out, whatever, then done. That's it. I'm willing to get on a plane and go anywhere. I don't care.
Sounds good.
But
I'll
you can stay at Pat's house for free.
But I want this to be very clear. This is obviously the property of Roger. So ultimately, if it goes anywhere, it's because he gave its blessing. So that's ultimately completely his choice. I don't
That's
do.
why I brought you guys.
I don't do
you guys bring
anything.
it out. I'll get you some dinner.
Yeah, seriously,
I don't do anything
Roger.
with this without Roger's permission. Not a damn thing. He knows to the point where I think I'm annoying you, Roger, because you hear like micromanagement texts. I'm like, okay, I looked at it again. I don't care, dude. Like,
yeah, seriously though, like a better guy couldn't have bought it for $3 or whatever. Because if it was somebody else, they might just be like really selfish with it and not like want to get it water graded or whatever. Like it's just like seriously. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep dropping water jokes, but honestly, they could be like that, and they could be like not really wanting to share it with the community, but because of Roger and because of Adam, we get to see the story unfold, and that's the cool thing. The more stuff you guys do with it, the more it has a story, because its story ended in a cardboard box, until you guys really like helped add to the story. You got Ben Heck involved, and you've taken it around on tours and stuff, so that's really cool. That's great for game preservation.
I like the photo op of having it with the other Pluto and the Neptune. That was like flex, ultimate nerd flex.
No,
Like,
serious,
I'm flexing. I got nothing, but now I got. There you go. There's my muscle.
Yeah, that was a flex.
A flex moment like that's nowhere near as cool. But when Emilio brought down that orange Halo Xbox, I actually had like the blue Xbox, the developer kit, his orange Xbox, all held up in my arms over at the Xbox area, and so I was holding about 4 or 5 Xboxes of all like these different types. And I gotta say, man, I am really jealous that you got to hold on to a couple of Plutos and a Neptune. Bravo.
Just a day. Just a day.
Yeah.
In the life. It was Tuesday for me.
Basically, yeah. Well, technically it was a Saturday, but yeah.
I'm just imagining Bison saying, "It's like, well, technically it was Saturday, but I mean, who's counting at this point, right?"
Yeah.
But no,
Cool.
but, I think that
honestly, dude, I really just do stuff like that. Even because for like the 6 people that I think are really going to care, because I'm like, I care about this. Maybe someone else will. I like the idea that, yes, now the world knows 2 Plutos were in the same room. Yes, now the world knows there's a Neptune and where you can go see it. Hey, why not? We have a photo of the 3 of them together for the world to have. That's not for me. That's I'm like fortunate enough that I get to go to stuff. And so I just want people to get some cool windfall from that. That's all.
Absolutely.
sounds good. I think we have to wrap up though. I think we're gonna get some of the guests in for the bulk slash, but closing out. Before we close out, did you have anything else you want to plug? Both you and Roger before we head out.
I got my channel. I got my new flying channel, which has a bunch of stuff about, adventuring just like that. And then Twitter, Instagram, Discord, Facebook. Maybe not Discord because I assume that's a conflict of being in here. But all the other ones.
You can share that. There's no conflicts. Oh yeah,
Twitter,
no.
Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Patreon, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we just joined your Discord, so thank you there.
Oh,
yeah.
I noticed. It's a madhouse in there, but it's just my name.
In the chat.
Yeah.
It's just your name, all those accounts.
Cool,
Adam Koralik.
All those things are just my name, except for the flying one, which is flying and eating with Adam.
With Adam. Okay, all right.
My name's always attached.
And you, Roger, it's KidVid666, right, on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm never on it, so if you're trying to contact me there,
Okay.
hit up Adam. He's better at getting a hold of me. I'm on the internet, but I'm never really on it.
We'll see you with
Basically,
Adam.
I'm his agent.
Nice.
You need to talk to Roger. You go through me.
Well,
Right.
that's great.
Angel Boss.
We should shout our patrons that help support this show.
Yeah, shout out to Emerald Nova, Johannes Fats, 32-Bit Stuff, Derek, aka Team Guy behind all the translations for Dreamcast, Momdu, Tanuki Trev, and Young Money Swee for backing us to Patreon. If you want to get shouted on Patreon, $10 and up gets you shouted on the show. Get shouted with Adam pointing the Pluto with it. So that could have been a perk. That's a good perk for them guys. Hopefully,
I was trying to go for like a Muppet talking thing, but it really didn't.
With a copy of the NHL,
I'll my voice like this,
NHL hockey.
and you could like do the Muppet thing. But
That's
yeah,
NHL All-Star Hockey, I believe.
I am the almighty talking Pluto. You patrons, if you back us on Patreon, you will get great rewards and stuff, and if you get us $10 and up, you'll be shouted on the show, and you will also get great rewards like early access to Pandemonium videos or access to our videos and edited videos. So if you guys want to back us to Patreon, that's patreon.com, SHIRO Media Group, think that's the name of it, don't remember off the top of my head. And if you want to back us with shirts, you can buy our shirts on the Threadless store, Threadless Sega Saturn SHIRO. It's on our website, SegaSaturnShiro.com. And if you just want to support us regularly, just back us. Oh yes, if you want to back us regularly, just back us on our website and share us out. Like, subscribe, comment, leave a hate comment on our page. That would help too. Like, good comments, hate comments, whatever you guys want to do. Let us know. Do we smell? Am I bald? What do you want to talk about? Any support's great. But that's about it from me. And do you want to take us out, Adam? Just got to say, remember, you must play Sega Saturn. That's all you got to say.
Wait. You must play Sega Pluto. How about that?
Oh.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, me too.
All right, guys. Well, stick around for the next hour. We're going to have a bulk slash stream, and it's a good one because they're debuting a new navigator with the voice redone, and they're going to have the actress in the chat.
I got the good stuff, too.
So it's
Twin
Cologne
Sticks again, guys.
Yeah, and Pat's going to be playing on the Twin Sticks thanks to Night of Dragon for patching in that support. So stick with us while I roll credits, and then Pat's going to pick up the stream. Until next time, just remember, you must play Sega Saturn.